Guys, so sorry I couldn't be there today, but I wanted to create this video to kind of outline some of the things that I want you to work on while I'm gone. The two things we're going to go over today is a recap of touch of color, as well as an editing technique that we haven't talked about yet called cross-processing. Okay, so starting first with the new method of editing that we haven't learned yet, cross-processing. It's a really simple technique that yields pretty good results. The origins of cross processing started back when we would in the darkroom and we would take color film and we would process that color film not with the chemicals that you were supposed to, but using a separate set of chemicals that was normally reserved for developing slide negatives, and you actually use those chemicals and you switch or cross process that film with those chemicals. So you were switching or cross-processing those images with chemicals that you actually weren't supposed to be using, and it yielded some kind of interesting results as far as the way that the colors were rendered. People really liked it, and it kind of became a fad, and there are ways to digitally recreate that look, and we're going to learn a really simple way to do that today in Photoshop. So you can see I have my image here in front of me in Photoshop, and the adjustment tool that we're going to be working with for this process is the curves adjustment. So I'm going to click, the curves dialog is going to pop up, and I'm going to look at the RGB mode here, and rather than editing all three RGB, the red, green, and blue channels together in the curves module, I'm going to switch between the red, green, and blue because I'm going to look at them and edit them differently. So starting with the red, you can see the histogram here. There's a lot of reds in the darker tones, which are in the pants. The reds, you're going to make a slight S-curve, bring the highlights up, the lowlights down, kind of a flattened S. You're going to do the same edit with the greens, highlights up, lowlights down. And finally, with the blue channel, we're going to do the opposite. So before on the green channel and the red channel, we brought the highlights up and the lowlights down. On the blue channel, you're going to bring the highlights down and the lowlights up. Okay, so if I go back to the RGB channel, you're going to see here, it's going to make this kind of figure 8 with the red and the green on top and the blue on the bottom. Okay, that is the basic cross-process look, as you can see here. Feel free to do a quick Google search of cross-process photography so you can kind of better understand what that look is supposed to look like. You can see here as I used the revert eye tool, before, after. Alright, so now I'm going to just do a real quick recap. I'm going to delete this layer. I'm going to go over what we went over yesterday with touch of color. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the black and white adjustment. I'm going to look at my image. I'm going to try auto. The pants got a little too dark, so I'm going to take the reds. I know those were red. I'm going to pull them up a little bit more. There we go. Everything looks fine. And actually what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and close this out. It's over here. I'm going to look at this, the layers icon and the layers menu over here, and I'm going to see the black and white adjustment. I notice the layer mask is already built into that adjustment. It's already highlighted. So all I need to do now is go to my toolbar, grab a brush. I need to make sure the foreground color is black. If not, I need to go in here and click black. Hit OK. And then I want black as the foreground, white as the background. I can use this little revert icon here to switch between the two, or I can tap the X key on my keyboard. So with black in the foreground, I can right click, make sure the hardness is relatively hard for this, and I can click, it's a little small, I can use the brackets to the right of P, and I'm going to bring that color back in to my character. Now I'm just going to rush through this relatively quickly for the sake of the demo. But if you do go too far out of the screen like that, you can switch, use a white brush, and hide that color again. Like I said, I'm doing this relatively quickly for this demo. And there we go. All right, good enough. So hopefully that helped review this touch of color and kind of understanding layer masks a little better. Obviously, you're going to want to do a better job with editing and making sure that I don't have a bunch of spillover of color here on this. But as well as that, and going over again, talking about cross processing and how that style of editing looks. Okay, so I told you yesterday to take about 10 to 15 images, and what I would like you to do is I would like you to take 4 of those images and edit them in the cross process editing style, and take 4 more and edit them in a black and white touch of color editing style. I would prefer you to use 4 different images for each edit, so you're actually going to be editing 8 different images. Uh, and from there, if you have to use an image twice, that's okay, no big deal. But I would like you to get some experience with editing a bunch of different images. So don't take the first 4 images, edit them in a touch of color, and then take the exact same 4 images and edit them in cross process. I would like you to try both of these editing techniques with 8 images total. So 4 for the black and white with touch of color, and then 4 with the cross processing. If you have any questions, feel free to email me, and I will see you guys on Monday. Thanks.